The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Napick and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Napick.
Welcome to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. My name is John Bramblett. I'm an insurance advisor with Stewart Insurance, and I'm pitch hitting today for Bill Napick, beginning the first show of December 2021, and we're so glad to have you with us. Today we're really excited about, we have one of our favorite themed shows. In fact, the second one that we've done off this theme this year, and the theme being Move, Learn, and Care. The idea that successful and fulfilled people generally share those three characteristics at some level, that they have some sort of a daily movement each day, that there's an exercise involved in their daily routines, that they learn, that they're continually learning, that they're always trying to activate that mind and be lifelong learners. And then they care. They go beyond themselves and to go out and help others. So today, to help us with this thought of move, learn, and care, we've got some fitness entrepreneurs. We have the director at the top business school in the city of Houston, as well as a leader in the Houston real estate community. So with that, we're going to kick it off with our friends Reggie Ruzon and Gary Bradley from Edu Boxing Club. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
So before we kind of get into the specifics of movement, I'd like to get a little bit of a background about how you got into fitness and some of the experiences you had, to give our guests some flavor about your background. So if Reggie, if you could kind of kick that off for us.
So I'm a former boxer, and after finishing with my boxing career, I decided to go into the training side of it because, for me, the one thing that, I like to stress is the fact that boxing is one of the best full body workouts that you can, have relative to the cardiovascular side, muscle building, just, everything that you can do movement wise. If we're talking about movement, I mean, when you box, you're moving every part of your body. You're really working your arms and your core and your legs and everything. So, when I heard about what you guys were focusing on, I said, people need to understand that, my background is boxing, but it's for everyone. And that was one of the reasons why I came up with the concept of cardio boxing, because there's no better way to really get in shape and be able to burn fat and build muscle, relative to doing a full boxing workout. So
what was it about the business end of it that got you? So you were a boxer when that part of your career ended, and you transformed or moved over to the fitness side. What was it about the business end of it that got you to say, I want to have my own business and to start, Edu Boxing Club? So
what made me want to start Edu Boxing Club was the fact that I wanted to put a platform together where people could actually get the benefits of boxing and what it could do for them and their health without having to get hit in the face at the end of the day. When you think about all of the different components of what people try to do relative to working out, you have some people who are in the weight training and strength and conditioning. You have some people who are runners, who are in the cardio. What boxing does, it encompasses all of that, okay? Relative to all of the different movements that we're talking about here on a daily basis that we want to do, cardio boxing gives you everything that you need in one particular workout, okay? So you can pretty much condense everything that you would do, in a gym or outside running in one, workout with boxing, okay, and you're going to get the same benefits. So what I wanted to do was just give my clients that platform to not only be able to get everything that they need from a workout perspective, and but also have fun. Boxing is fun. It's a stress reliever, okay? Coming in here, hitting that bag, working out, throwing punches. People getting there that tried it for the first time, they're like, I can't believe it was such a great workout, but how much fun I had doing it. So it's the best of both worlds as far as I'm concerned, relative to the cardio boxing and the way that we teach it and the way that we train at Edu Boxing Club.
Okay. Before we get into a little bit more about the gym itself and then some specifics about the training, Gary, if you would share with our listeners as well some of your background.
Well, I'm basically I've been athletic my whole life. Always into something, sports, even just running around the neighborhood and stuff like that. Got into football pretty late, but I was pretty good at it. Once I learned it, it stuck to me. As far as boxing, I'm not a boxer. Never been a boxer, but I've always fought. So when I was introduced to it, it was natural. Alongside Reggie, this is his vision, and I trained him one day at a previous gym that I was working at, and we just connected. The chemistry we had, just me training him. He introduced me to the vision that he had, and he told me he was gonna get it. He was gonna make it happen. Sure enough, a couple months later, he called me. He said, "It's happening." I was like, "Okay." So he made it come into fruition. Started it. The chemistry we have together is it's amazing. He teaches me, as well as me, trying to show him what I know as far as the fitness part, and that's what I bring to that. He's more boxing, more fitness, and just our combined mindset. We do great.
So tell us a little bit about that fitness background that you bring to the gym.
Like I said, from football, I got into the gym because of football, and since I've stuck to it. I do personal training sometimes, and I work out on my own, but that's basically it. I basically just get in the gym myself, and I do what I need for my body. And if anybody needs me to train them, I do that for them as well.
Fantastic. So, Reggie, let's talk a little bit specifically about the gym itself. So, Ito Boxing Club, what if I walk in, what am I going to see?
So when you walk in the Ito Boxing Club, the one thing that you see and that you feel is the energy. The energy is infectious, The members that we have right now, the one thing that they talk about is, every day, not only is there a different targeted focused workout around boxing, around cardio, around strength and conditioning, but it's the energy level that, we bring to the actual workouts itself. So, when you come to Ito Boxing Club, the great thing about the concept of the classes is it's like you have a personal trainer, but you are still in a group class setting. We give you that same level of individual focus that you would get if you're working with a personal trainer. So, people appreciate that. They respect that. One, because it's more cost effective. And two, you get to interact with other members, and it's almost like a family environment. Our members, they know each other. They know each other's kids. They know each other's family. So, it's something to be said about having a private gym that brings all of those things together, and the one thing I say about gyms, really good gyms, you do have that family environment, and we have that at Ito Boxing Club. So, the workouts are amazing. Like I said, what we focus on and how we do it. I had a 60-day challenge that I did with our clients, and it's even on our Instagram. It shows you at a client that's 58 years old. She came to me. She hadn't worked out since she had her daughter. Her daughter's 23 years old, and in 60 days, she dropped 4 dress sizes, and she's wearing dresses and clothes that she hasn't worn in over 20 years. So the proof is in the pudding, and it's out there, So if people are interested to see what we're talking about and what real results look like, just check us out on our Instagram. It's at Ito Boxing Club, and you can look at Enriqueta's progress and see what you can do at Ito Boxing Club in just 60 days.
So let's talk a little bit about that. One of the things that I was interested in would be some specifics or examples of some of your clients that have adapted this idea of movement, whether they do it continually or in this instance, 28 years since they had last exercised. So could you both maybe share some examples of some of your clients that have had some success and kind of what was that first step that they took to get there?
So the first step just comes from showing up and being consistent, okay? You got to do that. The one thing I would say about that particular client, Enriqueta, was she came in, she was dedicated, she was focused, and she showed up. I said, you give me 3 days a week, and I will transform your body in 60 days. And you know what? She was dedicated, she was focused, she didn't miss a day. Now, as far as the movement side of it is concerned, that's really what boxing focuses on. Go back to what we talked about, in the first part of the segment, relative to the way that these workouts are put together. It is engaging every day, every part of your body, your abs. We're working in on core conditioning, core strengthening, which is critical, okay? Every time that you that motion of moving your arms and hitting a bag or shadow boxing or any type of air punch, that movement is critical in the continuous movement, all right? Relative to the legs, everything you do in a boxing class, every time you throw a punch, you throw a combination, your feet are moving with your arms. So as we talk about that movement, that continuous movement, you're not every second of every minute of that workout, you are in constant motion, moving every part of your body, something that you're not going to do throughout the day. Okay, so it's very important that you have that regimen that's going to give you the access to be able to facilitate that motion in that movement. And boxing is perfect for it. Cardio boxing is perfect for it. I mean, you think about a regular workout, with us for an hour, you're going to burn between 800 to 1,000 calories. That's over a third of your caloric intake for the day. So if you're really looking to get in shape, to elevate your cardio, and to get in the best condition of your life, Edo Boxing Club is the place for you.
Gary, let's talk a little bit about getting started. Mm-hmm. So whether you're a busy homemaker or you're a professional in a career, but everybody seems to be time strained these days. What's the first step that I need to do beyond Reggie's great suggestion of showing up? But what are some of the things that I can do that kind of help me get started in this process?
Just get your mindset right. I tell people all the time, even if you can't make it to a gym, if you're at home, you have to get up in the morning before you go to bed. You can do some push-ups. You can do sit-ups. You can just sit on the wall for a few minutes. If you want to be on your phone, stand on the wall, sit back on it, and just sit there for a minute. It's so many ways to move. You don't have to go to a gym. You can just go walk your dog, run with your dog. It's no excuse. In the office, accountants, busy people. Just take a break, do some jumping jacks, run in place, anything, stretch, whatever it takes.
So is the key on that taking the opportunities when they present themselves, yes, and then doing it on a consistent basis?
Yes, sir.
So do you find that it's better for folks if they do it consistently at the same time every day? Is it first thing in the morning or when you get home from work? Does that help the success process?
If you can, if that's possible, because schedules change. So if that's possible, yes, try to keep it consistent at the same time every day. It can be routine for you, just like people when they're on their diets, they like to keep the same routine. It's the same thing with working out.
We're visiting with Reggie Rouzan and Gary Bradley from the Edo Boxing Club and talking about movement and this idea of cardio boxing. So, we've talked a little bit, Reggie, about getting started and all. If I wanted to really get serious about putting this fitness activity into my daily routine, whether it be coming to your gym or doing some of the things that Gary talked about, what are some of the things that I can do to get that in my routine on a daily basis?
If you can't come into an actual gym and, you wanted to start, somewhere, one of the things that I would suggest is shadow boxing, okay? Mm-hmm. Shadow boxing is wonderful. It's going to give you that same movement with your legs and your arms as it would if you were coming in and hitting a bag. So a very good shadow boxing routine can be done. I mean, you can get a full-length mirror or you can just get a mirror in your bathroom and just really start to move those arms and legs at the same time. And I'm talking about we could start off with basic combinations. If you don't know a whole lot about boxing, you pretty much can throw a jab, which is a 1, or a 1-2, a left-right, okay? And just keep that motion going. Jab, 1-2, jab, 1-2, and do that for, let's say, 3 rounds, okay, just starting off. 3 solid rounds, 9 minutes, okay, and then incorporate some abdominal working with that as well afterwards. So I would say starting off with, maybe 250 to 300 sit-ups, crunches. After that, that'll give you a good 15 to 20-minute burn of movement with your arms and your legs and your core engagement to just get you going in the right direction.
So you talked about maybe 3 rounds of that shadow boxing. So I think our listeners can get a feel for what those punches look like, and we've all seen some semblance of boxing to understand that. But how long would that round be? Is that a minute and then taking a breather, or is that 3 minutes and taking a breather?
That's 3-minute rounds.
Okay.
What I would suggest is a 3-minute round with 1 minute in between, just as if you were watching a fight on TV. That's exactly the amount of time that actual boxers have in between rounds. Okay, so go ahead and start off with that 3-minute round with a 1 minute break in between, and then see how your pace is there. And if you have the wind to go a little bit longer, then you might want to add another round or two to that and go 4 or 5. But I would say to get your heart rate up to the level where it needs to be in fat burning mode, to get the cardio where you want it to be, 3 rounds minimum.
So let's say I get that first round and I'm just winded, and it's tough on John. Is it okay that I do 1 or 2 to start?
Yes, it is.
So you don't want to push yourself too much. Don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
So the first goal would be to get to 3.
Yes.
If I was doing the shadow, unless
Pace yourself.
All right, so let's talk about the core work after that. You talked about the crunches or the sit-ups.
So yeah,
The goal being maybe 250, but I'm not going to do 250 right now. So again, is it as many as I can? Record it, and then the next day try to do a few more
Try to do
beyond
one
that?
more.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with modifying. Okay.
Okay.
I do that with my clients right now. Everyone that comes into Edo Boxing Club, I can pretty much tell you, I don't care what kind of shape you've in. I've had bodybuilders come in. I've had professional athletes come in who were not able to complete the workout the first time, and they'd have to go through a modified version. So I'm just putting something out there to give you guys a challenge from me. If you can do it, then kudos and salute. I salute you. But if not, start off with a modified version. If you can only do 100, crunches and you work your way up to 250, great. If you can't do 3 rounds the first go around, start off with 1, maybe 2. But the key is you're starting off with something, and incorporate this into your week at least 3 to 4 times for the first week, and then let's see where you go from there. And then hopefully I'll be seeing you at Edo Boxing Club because
Absolutely.
you're going to love it.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
No, I like that aspect of the having that long-term goal out there and then working towards it. We're visiting with Reggie Ruzon and Gary Bradley with the Edo Boxing Club and talking a bit about cardio boxing and this idea of movement. Gary, how important is it to have a goal when we start, whether it be like that lady that lost 4 dress sizes that you missed or mentioned, or I want to hit 250 crunches, or I want to drop a waist size, or I want to increase my strength. How important is it to have a goal?
It's very important. I mean, it gives you a reason to work out. That's the start. Like you got players who want to break records. That's their reason. So just set you a goal. You want to beat that, and just be consistent with that for a minute, and set another one. Once you've conquered that, set another one, and just keep going. Don't stop.
So I'm listening to the show, and you guys have got me motivated, and you've got me excited and pumped up, and I maybe had never considered boxing or cardio boxing as a form of fitness beyond showing up, which I think is a great coaching lesson for us on everything, not just our fitness. We've got to start at some point. But if I wanted to get started specifically, what were some of the things that I would do with one of you two gentlemen to get started, Reggie?
If you wanted to get going with us, the one thing that we do at Edo Boxing Club, the first workout is on us.
Okay.
So you show up, we give you an opportunity to not only see how you like us, but for us to also be able to gauge where you're at fitness level wise. So that's what I tell anyone who contacts me or is interested. I say, hey, you know what? Come on in, check us out. It's not going to cost you a thing. See how you like cardio boxing, see how you enjoy the class structure, interact with me as a coach, and see exactly what I bring, to the program and what I could, do for you as an individual. And then if it's a good fit and it's a good marriage, then hopefully, we'll be, moving forward with you working out at Edo Boxing Club. But that was would be my suggestion from anybody who's listening to this, today, and they're interested in trying a cardio boxing routine and seeing if it's a good workout regimen for them. Come on in, check us out. First one's on us, and then we'll take it from there.
All right, so now I'm really motivated because I have nothing to lose. I get to meet you guys find out if this cardio boxing is it for me. So how do I get a hold of you so I can find out how to come out and set that first appointment?
We have social media, obviously, on our Instagram. It's going to be at Edo Boxing Club. That's EADO Boxing Club. Our website is edoboxing.com. And if you wanted to stop by, our address is 2817 Gulf Freeway. That's going to be Suite A as in Apple in Houston.
Fantastic. So give us those social media connections again.
So once again, our Instagram is at Edo Boxing Club. That's EADO Boxing Club. Our website is edoboxing.com.
Fantastic. We've been visiting with Reggie Ruzon and Gary Bradley with the Edo Boxing Club, talking about the benefits of movement. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being our guest.
Hey, thank you so much. You have a great day.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Not sure if your insurance addresses the risks facing your business? Contact Stewart Insurance to be confident your brokerage can withstand these risks. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
So we just finished visiting with Reggie and Gary discussing movement in this special edition of Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Now we're going to talk about learning and the benefit of being a lifelong learner. And we're fortunate enough today to be joined by Priscilla Ehlert. Priscilla is the Director of Insurance and Risk Management in the Davies School of Business at the University of Houston downtown. For those that aren't in the greater Houston area, our listeners outside of Houston, or even for some of our listeners here, University of Houston downtown is the second largest campus within the University of Houston system. It's also one of the most ethnically diverse campuses, not only in the city of Houston, but within the U.S. They provide a great service for our community, both here and around the U.S. So, Priscilla, thank you so much for being our guest.
Oh, thank you for this opportunity.
Before we get into some specifics about learning, let's talk a little bit about you and your role at the University of Houston downtown. So how long have you been in that position, and kind of what attracted you to that role?
Well, I've been in the position for 4.5 years, and it was just kind of this position is a progression, a natural progression in my career. I was approached by a peer and said, I have an opening that you may be interested in. And of course, here I am today in that role.
Well, that's fantastic. Let's kind of jump into this idea of learning. So did passion for learning lead you to be an educator, or was it something that you've acquired over the past? Where did that passion for being a lifelong learner come from?
It came from, I think, my birth. I've always been interested in school. I've enjoyed it. It's just been my nature. And then after high school, unfortunately, I wasn't allowed to go to college, and I started working, and I still had that drive. So I went at night and on weekends, finally got my bachelor's degree. I then, through work experience, fell in love with risk management, found out there were several designations, and I jumped on that bandwagon, got the designations, and then went on to get my master's degree at a later age. And even today, I'm considering the designation, but at this point, it might be courses related to hobbies.
So our lifelong learning can be both things that benefit our career as well as just our general life.
Absolutely. I've been asked, so why should I go on and get my master's? And I say, the most important thing I learned from a master's program is that it has expanded my mindset, the way I think. I look at situations from all different perspectives instead of just being narrow-minded.
You've talked a little bit about this, but I'd like to get into some specifics about how this idea of being a lifelong learner has affected your life. You talked about having the initiatives to do school in the evening. to get your undergraduate, and then the initiative to get some certifications, and then the initiative to go ahead and get your master's. But how does that, how has that truly kind of affected your life and maybe some of the decisions you've been able to make?
I can say it has certainly enriched my life. I feel that in some ways it's kept me younger. It's kept my mind stimulated. It certainly helped with promotions and salary increases and opportunities that I would never have thought I would have had. For instance, if you would have told me several years ago I'd be called Professor Ehlert, I would have said you were crazy. And it has certainly just led me down a path that it was not planned, and it certainly has offered a lot of opportunities.
The students that you work with at the University of Houston downtown tend to be a little older than a traditional, collegiate student getting their undergraduate degree. How have you found, have those folks that have gone to school later in life or gone back to school later in life, have you found that those folks tend to be lifelong learners and have that desire and that passion for education and for continuing their growth?
I certainly have. And the primary reason for our students continuing their education is that they realize they cannot move up in their careers without a degree. And we have a whole gamut of demographics within the program. We have single mothers with children. We have families. We have young adults that are or have entered the program because they have family or friends that are in the insurance industry, and they've spoken so highly about all the opportunities available in insurance that they've decided to go that route. We have one student who works for a major retailer, and she learned about the insurance industry and all the opportunities, and now she is working on this degree even though it's not related to what her career has been before.
But before we get into some of the specifics about or characteristics of a lifelong learner, something you said to me kind of triggered a thought when we were visiting with Reggie and Gary and talking about movement and how do you put that exercise into your routine. I would think that the same question would fit to somebody that's a lifelong learner. How do I schedule my time? What do I need to do to have that discipline to read or to learn or to look up or to study? How do you counsel your students, Professor, on those when somebody says, how am I going to make this work? I'm a single mom. How am I going to make this work? I've got a 40-hour-a-week job and a family.
Our program is fully online, and I get that question from those who are thinking about entering the program. They'll say, I'm just not real sure I can find the time. Well, I can tell you that it's very important, and I found that our students do. They have a very rigid schedule, and maybe they'll put their children to bed at night, and then they know they have 2 hours for studying, or they'll take time from their work day, maybe their lunch hour, and do their studying and preparation then. But I have found that it does take discipline. The key is having the passion for that lifelong learning. And when you have a passion for something, you will make time for it.
So the key is passion, and then turning around and making sure that you have the discipline of scheduling that passion.
Exactly.
There's a great book that I recommend often and I buy often for friends and colleagues called 15 Secrets by Kevin Hughes. And he's interviewed top CEOs, top athletes, and top students. And it's about just that, scheduling and time management and prioritization. And it's wonderful specific tips for folks. So it's a great read. So now that you've talked about, that it can be done, and you've got students that prove that can be done because they've got challenging schedules, what are some of the specific characteristics beyond this idea of passion that you see in a lifelong learner versus somebody that might be less than enthused?
They have a commitment to professional development. They, like I said before, they realize that their opportunities are limited if they do not have a degree or designations or certificates. I encourage students when I talk to classes to market the program. I say, regardless if you enter the insurance industry or our program, don't stop learning. When you're working in a position or with a company and you're passionate about it, research and find certificate programs and designations in which you can continue to learn, and you add value to yourself as well as to the organization for which you're working.
That's an interesting point, this idea of adding value to yourself as you've worked with your students from when they begin the program to when they're graduating, or when you're counseling folks that just have a question because of your background. What have you seen kind of the changes that an individual can go through and the benefits of that from when they start this quest of being a lifelong learner to when they truly have it ingrained in their lifestyle?
They have more confidence. I see that in the students that are new in the program, and then when they graduate, I see the change that the program has made. I had one student early on say, I had invited her to an industry event, which is very common for the students because I know that it helps with their networking skills. They meet industry professionals, and it oftentimes leads to job opportunities. And she asked me, she says, I am afraid of walking into a room. And I said, well, just hang on to my coattail, and I will walk you around. I'll introduce you to others. And then when she graduated, she is just working a room like crazy. And that's just one benefit. The other is that their knowledge in the insurance industry, and I will say the majority of our students, our majors, are working in the industry already. Their knowledge has increased so much that they're even more passionate about their positions. They're more marketable in the industry.
So you're seeing individuals' confidence grow, and you're also seeing individuals' knowledge base grow because they have that confidence, they have that strength, and it sounds like you've also seen they've been able to expand their horizons.
Exactly.
So I'm intrigued by this thought, and I'm listening to you, and I've kind of talked about maybe picking up a book and starting to read, or finding a different subject to learn about, or maybe I'm not immersed in my career to truly be a subject matter expert. How would you recommend I get started? This is something that you've convinced me that I need to truly adapt and include this routine in my life to be a lifelong learner. How do I get started?
I would say if you're already working in an industry, again, find out how you can improve your skills. Find out how you can increase your knowledge and be able to apply that to your daily activities. That's one of the other benefits and changes that I have seen with our majors is that they're able to go back to their workplace the next day and be able to apply what they've learned.
So I can immediately, whether it's reading a book on leadership or reading a book on time management or the Insurance Journal, so I can take that knowledge and immediately apply to the next day.
Exactly. And it's not only adding more value to you, but your employer is impressed as well. And it certainly adds to your productivity and your chances and ultimately your chances for advancement.
So we're talking here with Priscilla Ehlert with the University of Houston Downtown Davies School of Business, the Insurance and Risk Management Program. And I know that the topic has been about learning and lifelong learning, but we've used a lot of examples in and around the insurance world. If that's intrigued a listener and they have an interest in that industry, what would you share with them about, maybe how to get started and what are some of the opportunities within insurance?
John, there is a place for everyone in the insurance industry. Unfortunately, insurance has a stigma, which is people think of sales. They think of their agent, which an agent is absolutely needed, but they think of that premium that's just increased or that claim that went bad. There is, like I said, a place for everyone. The insurance industry is starving for talent and educated talent and experienced talent. By 2028, it's estimated that 50% of today's workforce will have been retired. I must send out 2 to 3 notices of job openings a week to our majors and also our alumni. We have 125 alumni now, and the opportunities are just, the sky is the limit in the insurance industry.
All right, so I'm excited now about being a lifelong learner, and I'm excited about maybe getting into the insurance. So how do I get involved with the insurance and risk management program at the University of Houston downtown?
Well, I host online information sessions twice a month, so they could go to the website and register for one of those. I think it's important that someone who is interested in the program understands the benefits of the program. First of all, it's a fully online program, so anyone in the world. We have a student from Kazakhstan right now that's in our program. And also, it offers scholarships that no other degree program does. Each new IRM major receives a $1,000 scholarship right off the bat.
Wow.
If they're enrolled in an IRM course. And then there are scholarships for each semester after that, ranging from $500 to $1,000 based on GPA. Industry provides numerous scholarships, so that's a huge benefit. And also, with the job rate percentage being high, that's a huge benefit. We have a mentorship program in which I've gone out and found industry professionals and matched them with our students to be mentors. Each course prepares a student for an exam toward a designation. So they're not only earning this degree in insurance and risk management, they're working toward their designation as well.
So we're visiting with Priscilla Ehlert with Insurance and Risk Management Program, Davies School of Business, U of H downtown. You mentioned the website that they can find the introductory course that you host twice, or the introductory class that you have twice a month. What is that website?
That website is uhd.edu/IRM.
uofh.edu/IRM?
uhd.edu/IRM.
Fantastic. We've been visiting with Priscilla Ehlert, University of Houston downtown, the Davies School of Business, the Insurance and Risk Management Program, discussing the benefits of learning. Thank you, Priscilla. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I've enjoyed it.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
So we're now joined with Richard Miranda, and Richard's going to lead us on our third leg of this Move, Learn, and Care journey, discussing about caring and the idea of doing something more than just for yourself, to reach out and support others within your community the best that you can. Richard is the 2021 chairman of the Houston Association of Realtors. He has Miranda Realtors and is a member of the Keller Williams Platinum team. Welcome to Real Estate Matters, Richard.
My pleasure. It's good to be here.
Before we get into this aspect of caring and the benefits that it brings, I'm intrigued, and I know that our listeners, both local and from around the country, would be interested in what it's like to be the chairman of the Houston Association of Realtors. So if you could share a little bit about what HAR is in a context, and then what it's like to have been the chairman this last year.
It's a dream job. It's the kind of job that you learn almost every day something new. Well, part of our role was to set policy, also to be able to evaluate our senior staff at the Houston Association of Realtors, and engage them, and then give them compensations based on those merits. The other thing is the traveling and the going to the conferences and listening to a lot of other real estate gurus and people that know much more about real estate than I do. And they're very educational. These courses are, and these seminars and these conferences are just a wealth of knowledge and learning. And we take that back to our offices and we try to spread it to the other members of our association and our colleagues at work.
So the Houston Association of Realtors, is it part of a larger organization?
The Houston Association of Realtors is a association based with realtors. There's 47,000 licensed realtors registered with the Houston Association. It is part of the Texas Association of Realtors, which has based in Austin, and they have about 140,000 members, which is also a part of the National Association of Realtors based in Chicago, which has well over 1.4 million members. It is the largest trade association in the world.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And the one thing that's beautiful for all those of us in the industry that live in the greater Houston area is the Houston Association of Realtors has maybe the best reputation of the associations that are members of NAR in the U.S.
That's exactly right. We are the envy and the bar for other associations to emulate us. We pioneered the consumer-facing portal, which used to be kind of like a dedicated thing just for realtors, and there was a lot of people who said, "Oh, that's just a horrible mistake." Actually, it turned out to be one of the best things we did for the industry, and there's now several other companies that are emulating what we have done, but we're still the number one here. We're the number one search engine. HAR.com is the number one search engine in the city of Houston. There are other search engines which are number one and number two in other cities, but here, nobody gets anywhere close to us.
Well, that's fantastic. So let's jump into this idea of care. We're visiting with Richard Miranda. He's the 2021 chairman of the Houston Association of Realtors and a member of Keller Williams Platinum here in Houston, Texas. In the November 21st issue of the Houston Chronicle, you had a great article that I've read multiple times talking about the advocating of volunteering. If you could kind of start off with what was the catalyst for you to write the article, and why are you so passionate about this idea of volunteering?
Volunteering comes natural. I've been doing this for a long time, ever since I started a family. It started with in our own church, in our own place of worship. We would do soup kitchens, if you will, serving the poor and the underserved. At Thanksgiving and at Christmas, we would go and serve them turkey and the trimmings and everything like that, and then clean up the tables and stuff like that. And I did it basically because I wanted to show my boys, they were at that time age 8 and 10, I wanted to show them that we have to be part of something bigger, that we have to give back to society what we earn and learn. And I think they picked that up real well, because throughout today, they're both doing also the same thing. They volunteer whenever they can. So it was a part of the desire to help, and also mainly because of the role model that I wanted to set the example for my boys.
So you've set a role model for your boys. If we can look at it from a broad perspective, what are some of the benefits that you get from volunteering, whether it be for others, but selfishly also, what do we get for ourselves when we volunteer?
When I volunteer, I just feel fulfilled. I get reinforced in my compassion for others. It's one of those things that you just feel like you have a duty to help other people. And so in a greater scope, it's like I'm helping because I want to help. It's a desire that one has. It's really mostly personal. There's no gain to it. I mean, we're not thinking I'm gonna go do volunteer because I want to get something out of it. You don't. you do get something out of volunteering, and it's just the satisfaction that you've done and that you helped other people and that you've done your part.
I've got an interest, but I don't know how to get started. So maybe if you could provide some counsel on, what are the different ways that I can get started, and maybe some of the different ways that I can volunteer or support an organization.
Wow, there's plenty. If you you can start with your place of worship. If you don't have one, you can do it in your school. If you don't have kids of school age, you're in your own neighborhood. Find out when the homeowners association, for example, is meeting, and then, or if you live in a condo in a high rise, when does the homeowners association meet? And that's one way you get started. A lot of people are looking for volunteers to help get involved in some of the more menial functions of running an organization. But it is it's just the random acts of kindness that we have been trying to teach our children and our neighbors, that we have a duty to help them whenever we see them in trouble. And so it starts really at home. It starts with your family, with the desire to contribute and help somebody else.
When we were visiting with Priscilla earlier, and she was talking about learning, and one of the things that she said was the folks that are lifelong learners have this idea of passion. Could a way to start your volunteer life be in an area that you've got a passion about?
Oh, sure. For example, I like to volunteer. I teach a lot of real estate classes because that's my passion right now. And I do some of these classes without getting paid, and I would just do it because of the pleasure of it. In the office that I work with, I get involved with the Leadership Council, and we have mentoring programs for our associates. And that's just, most of these things that I do, I don't expect to get paid. It's just one of those things that I know that they're going to, the agents and the colleagues are going to be happy that they've learned something from us, and it's my duty to share what I know. So
just from an industry's perspective, you've been able to utilize your experience and your talent,
yes,
and turn around and pass that along, yes, as a volunteer.
Yes.
And then it can also just be your time. If maybe you don't have the treasure to add, but just the time, as you said, to show up someplace that needs help.
Absolutely. One of the things that I think that we get out of the contributing to the to the community is that, especially when we're as realtors, we like to of course get from the community because we want to meet the people who are moving, buying, and selling. We want to get involved. We want to be able to list the properties, and we want to be able to help them find a house. But it goes more than that. We have to be able to create a strong community by volunteering, because a strong community means better home values, safety, a well-rounded neighborhood. It also gives us visibility, because if I do advertise my name whenever we do volunteering. I put my Keller Williams and my Richard Miranda at the name tag. And that has contributed also. We get calls from people who want our services later on. Because it's participation, I think the participation into the jobs and the volunteering in the community adds value to my neighborhood. And I want my neighborhood to be a strong community with valuable home prices, because everybody benefits.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because the real estate industry as a whole has a history of volunteerism.
Yes.
And realtors and brokers alike historically have always stepped up and been active. Where do you think that comes from? Is that just the nature of somebody that gets into this industry?
Pretty much so. And one of the things that we have at the Houston Association of Realtors, we have a couple of programs that are very, very strong in terms of community leadership and volunteering. One of them is the Texas Realtors Leadership Program. It's called TRLP. And every TRLP has a class from the class of 2011. We had a legacy project, and every other class has a legacy project. And one of the most successful legacy projects in terms of volunteering was the forged a partnership with a school called Yellowstone Academy, which is a private faith-based school of socioeconomically underprivileged kids located in the 3rd Ward. And HAR raised more than $45,000 to help for school lunches. And the volunteers also participated in hosting monthly luncheons, mentoring programs, chaperone field trips, and attending sporting events and fundraising events for the Yellowstone Academy. And then the other one is the YPN, which is the Young Professionals Network. It's anybody who's under 40 who has been successful. They have to pass a threshold in terms of productivity and performance. And then they're selected by a committee of their peers. This year we had approximately 65 applicants, and we only were able to pick 40. And they also have their legacy programs and their legacy projects. So it's kind of like an ingrained thing that realtors, when you get involved in your community and you want to get something out of it, like you want to get a listing from a neighbor or you want to be able to buy a house, you got a duty to pay it back.
So I guess the last couple of things, we're visiting with Richard Miranda with Keller Williams Platinum, talking about care and giving back to the community. In your article, you mentioned a website as kind of a way to start, volunteermatch.org. Is that a great place to kind of find something that you might be passionate about to get started?
Absolutely, and there's a dozen or more of different charities and organizations that could certainly use volunteering help. Here's another one. If you want to do getting involved with the Houston Food Bank or anti-human trafficking groups, those are very important. One of our legacy projects was precisely that one, trying to help eliminate or reduce the anti-human trafficking. Financial literacy groups. There's a lot of people that don't even know how to balance a checkbook, and that is so important because people need to learn a little bit about financials to be able to subsist. We have other ones called Triumph Over the Kids Cancer, and we have Jamie's Hopes, Recovery Houston, and many, many others. And that's volunteermatch.org is a great place to find one that might suit your lifestyle or your interest or your passion.
Well, I know our listeners are excited about learning this, and they appreciate your guidance, Richard. If they'd like to speak to you about buying or selling a home, how do they go about doing that?
First of all, I'd give them my phone number.
Okay.
My cell phone is, my direct line is 832-754-8509.
Give that to me one more time.
832-754-8509. Now, I have an email also, which is usually how I end up getting most of my clients. It's my first name, Richard, at MirandaRealtors.com. That's Richard at MirandaRealtors.com.
Well, thank you, Richard. We really appreciate you being our guest, and we appreciate our listeners today for Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. If you'd like to learn more about Stewart, you can visit us at www.stewart.com. Learn more about Stewart Insurance at stewartinsurance.com. And if you'd like to listen to some of this show or past shows, go to stewart.com/radio. Again, this has been Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, and I've been your guest host, John Bramblett.